On Point with Craig's Investment Partners.
The information provided here is general in nature and it's not financial advice. It doesn't take into account your financial situation, objectives, goals, or risk tolerance. All investments are subject to risk and none are guaranteed. So before you make any decisions, we recommend you contact an investment advisor. For more information about our services or to view the Craig's Investment Partners financial advice provider disclosure statement, please visit our website, which is craigsip.com. Welcome to On Point. I'm Mark Lister, Investment Director at Craig's Investment Partners, and I'll be talking about a range of topics including economics, portfolio strategy, investor education, and anything else that's happening out there in financial markets. After a 6-year hiatus, venture capitalist and former Wall Street analyst Mary Meeker has released her first Internet Trends report since 2019. It's 340 pages long and focused entirely on AI. Dubbed the Queen of the Internet by Barron's magazine, Meeker is known for her ability to identify and analyse major technological trends early on. Her Internet Trends reports were highly influential, and they became essential reading in Silicon Valley from 1995 to the last one in 2019, before this year's edition. The Comeback report uses the word unprecedented 51 times, and some of the statistics really put in perspective just how transformational AI, artificial intelligence, has become. It sets the scene by noting that the document is filled with user, usage, and revenue charts that go up and to the right. There's so much interesting stuff in this report, and it's available for anyone to download on the Bond website. Bond is the global technology investment firm where Meeker is a partner. And what it really highlights to me is that if it feels like change is happening faster than ever at the moment, that is because it quite literally is. Now, ChatGPT, which we all know, reached 100 million users in just 2 months. That's something that took Instagram more than 2 years, Netflix a decade, and the telephone 75 years. In an interview in April, OpenAI's CEO Sam Altman suggested that the current number of weekly users was close to 800 million. Now, market penetration of 10% isn't too bad when the entire planet is your market. Those are staggering numbers. It's not just ChatGPT, there is a raft of other AI tools that people are using daily. You've got Microsoft's Copilot, you've got Google's Genesis, and you've got Meta AI. There's also the likes of Claude, that's a personal favourite of mine and one that I use almost daily, and Canva AI. Canva is the Australian design startup that Bond, Meeker's company, is an investor in. Usage of all of these things is surging across consumers, businesses, and governments. And crucially, as this report points out, it's hitting the world all at once. And that's a real difference from previous technologies. It's growing across the world simultaneously. If you think back to the original World Wide Web in the 1990s, that emerged in the US and then spread out from there. But what you're seeing at the moment, it's growing everywhere all at once. The change we've seen over the past couple of years also goes beyond the adoption of a new technology. It's a behavioural shift that we're seeing, and it's happening right before our eyes almost overnight. You've got hundreds of millions of people that have completely changed the way that they approach writing, learning, problem solving, as well as their day-to-day work. And as exciting as this is, it's also incredibly scary for many people. Entire industries are being disrupted by these advances, and over time, this will lead to some jobs becoming much less relevant or even obsolete in some cases. Basic data entry, customer services help desks, elements of legal services, they are some of the groups that are expected to be the most at risk in the coming decade. Writing and content production roles are also regularly cited, I guess that's me, as are routine accounting and financial services. Now, these jobs won't disappear completely, but they will shift, and maybe that will be for the better. AI could prove to be an extremely useful tool, making workers more productive and unlocking exciting innovations. Remember that history is littered with examples of technological advances bringing significant change for workers. If you go right back to the agricultural revolution of the early 20th century, that's probably the most comparable example. Now, in the 19th century, more than half of the US workforce, more than half, was involved in farming. Then you had the Industrial Revolution, and by the 1920s, that proportion had collapsed to barely 20% from over 50%. In more recent decades, it's been the internet, it's been mobile phones that have changed the way we communicate, the way we shop, and the way we consume entertainment. I saw some work from the economics team at MIT in the United States, and that suggested that 6 out of the 10 jobs people are doing today simply did not exist in 1940. So it's not a new trend that we're on the cusp of right now. While this change is disconcerting for those affected, society does adjust over time and those displaced workers will be absorbed elsewhere in the economy. That's what we can learn from what we've seen in the past. Having said that, this could be a faster and a more disruptive transition this time around. Meeker's work suggests that AI adoption curves are steeper than those of other major technological shifts in recent decades. So those long-term improvements in living standards and in productivity growth, they will come at a short-term cost. We've got to be aware of that, and we've got to be realistic. Policymakers are going to need to think very carefully about how they provide support, and as for investors, these are themes that we cannot afford to ignore. Thanks for listening, team. We'll talk again soon.
For more insights, visit craigsip.com.